Hi, hello, happy Tuesday, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about our Unschooling BUGS calendar, which is the 4th unschooling calendar. It has been a lot of fun doing these with my kiddos, and I know that I've had some very good feedback from others who have purchased these. I wanted to remind everybody that they're available as just a regular download, so you don't have to sign up for a subscription, and that's $7 for a 20 activity themed calendar that covers history, STEAM, science, art, and recipes, as well as, reading and stuff like that. And there's also a subscription, which is $5 a month. And we're having a special again where you can get those first 3 calendars for $12 plus your normal $5 subscription fee. So that is saving $3 via subscription and more like $7 or $8, possibly more than that. I can't math right now, I'm too tired. On the actual versions. So you can sign up as either a digital or a physical subscription, or just get them digitally or physically. When we get physical orders, we usually are able to ship them within 2 or 3 days, depending on the weather. Right now we're having a snowstorm, so any orders we get today will be shipped on Thursday or Friday. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and start this video, and I'm going to chat a little bit about why we're doing this. All right, so I'm trying not to make too much noise here because my toddler is taking a nap and he's trying to wean himself off of naps, and I'm trying to keep them around. So might be talking a little bit quieter than normal here, but I wanted to chat about the why. What is the why for these unschooling calendars? What is unschooling? How is this unschooling? And for the top question I get asked about these unschooling type programs that we have is, if you're going to use them, how can you still track where your child is or what standards they're learning or any kind of things like that. So I'm going to go over that as well. But first, let's get started with why did we start this in the first place? All right, so last year I was talking to my husband and I kept having some fleeting ideas that were not full circle ideas. Something like, oh, wouldn't it be really fun to have a theme every month like we used to before the 3rd was born? And wouldn't it be really fun to have something that's science-based but covers a lot more subjects? And wouldn't it be fun to be able to span multiple ages or grades, so that all of elementary could use the same curriculum? And all those questions I kept thinking over and over for weeks, like how can I do something like this? How can I make it so it's interest-led, more unschooling themed, more child-led instead of teacher-led. It's teacher-prepared, but child-led. And I had the idea to do an unschooling calendar of activities. Now, I had a similar idea last summer, and it was more of like a, what did I call it? Something like just like a learning activity calendar, where I didn't provide much. It was just sort of an idea that you could do each day with your kids over the summer. And I wanted this to be something more in depth that could totally replace your science curriculum. It basically, if you used this, writing or whatever language arts you're working on at the moment, and math, that would be your entire thing that you needed to use, especially if you have lower elementary children like myself. So the unschooling calendar idea was born, and I call it a calendar because, let me show you really quickly here. Each guide here has a calendar that fits with the month that the subscription is on. But if you're not using it in a subscription-based format, it also has just, the theme calendar. Hold on. And each one of those will have just a regular one. This is for a loop calendar, and it talks a little bit about what a loop calendar is in here. And then also just something to where this is kind of how we follow it. Now we do it a little bit differently because we're making these for you, and so we do it before they're ready for everyone else. But this has all of the activities laid out, so if you wanted to do just one lesson a day, you could. Now we end up doing a 2-week crash course where we do each week is 2 days, so we cover 2 weeks in a week. Instead of doing one lesson a day, we do 2 lessons a day, basically, is how we do that. So that's the why. Now I wanted to chat a little bit about what unschooling is. Unschooling is going to be different for a lot of people. And the reason for that is going to be whether you're more of a radical unschooler or whether you're more of a just less structured unschooler. Because you've got traditional homeschooling, which is not like the public school environment, but it is more, you know, you lay the lessons out ahead of time, you plan, and then you do those kinds of things. Then you have the kind of homeschooler that still does structured learning, still not forces, but requires is a better word, requires their children to do a certain amount of lessons or pages or hours or whatever it is. And then you reverse plan, which is how we do it. We write things down as we go instead of writing them down beforehand. That way we don't feel like, we messed this up, or we feel like we can go at whatever pace we want. And then you have unschooling, which is, it's just less forcing or requiring, more encouraging and presenting opportunities, more of you being really in that headspace of learning with them. Julie, Brave Writer, so Julie Bogart, who wrote, she's the author of Brave Writer, and she wrote A Gracious Space on the Brave Learner and all kinds of things. She has some really good tips, and she doesn't call it unschooling, but it is, where she says if you're worried about your child feeling like they're being forced or required to do something, really all you need to do is get something, set it aside, and then you start doing it, and they'll come join you. And that's sort of what unschooling is to me. It's not the radical, oh, I never tell them to do anything, and it's not the radical, we have to do this many things a day, because to me, those things are both radical. They may not be to you, but they are to me. Unschooling for me is more of a middle ground where, yeah, we do some structured schooling where my kids know that we have a routine, you know, they have writing or math to do, but we try and present it in just more of a fun way, or more of a meet them in the middle, compromising sort of a way. So my younger, or he's actually my middle son, I have to stop saying younger son because he's the middle one now. My middle son doesn't like writing as much. And my daughter, who's the oldest, used to hate writing as well. So what we just do is we take a step back and we say, okay, can you do this amount instead of this amount? You know, and eventually they really start to like doing it. If you want to learn more about unschooling, just leave a comment and I can make more videos about that. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to how you can use this guide as an unschooling guide to be able to write down and even submit for a portfolio if your homeschool state requires you to submit a portfolio or proofs of homeschooling. Okay, so this is, you know what, I'm gonna grab my planner really quick so I can show. This is the planner that we use, and this planner is actually in my shop, and it is an unschooling planner. You can use it for homeschooling or whatever else too, but it's because it goes all the way to Sunday. And as unschoolers, and I mean homeschoolers too, depending on what kind of homeschooler you are, we believe that there's learning in everything, and you can write down, you know, whatever it is that you want. So for example, if you had it filled out like me, where we have devotional, read aloud, language arts, math, and then we'll usually put like science and other here, but you could put science and history or anything like that. You could just fill it out as devotional if you're religious. If not, you could do something like a morning thought or a quote or journaling. The read aloud that would be in the science or history lesson. English language arts, which could be reading, it could be researching the vocabulary, it could be writing about what you learned. Math, which math is not included in the unit, so math would need to be separate. But then you could fill out what you did for science and STEAM and history, and you could write down what you did for recipes and art. So that covers so much. It covers so many things. And that's why we have the subjects here like we have them. So let me go back here to the table of contents, and I'll show you this whole thing at the end of the video. So if you want to just jump ahead to that, just go to the description of the video and click one of the jump links. But it has the table of contents here. So it's got all of the recipes, which you could write recipes down as math because there's measuring, all sorts of stuff like that. There's reading involved in recipes. Then of course the science lessons, history lessons, art lessons, and STEAM lessons. And then we also have, you know, how we do the cooking by level. So with just this unschooling guide, that can cover almost every single subject. And if you are just an unschooler and you're not doing any sort of required math or writing, it can cover every single subject. So I think that this is something where I saw a need, I filled the need, and I really, really hope that it helps you too. My kids have been loving it. The next one is going to be garden, all about the gardens. We're going to go over, you know, trees and flowers and all sorts of really fun things like that. If you are interested, I am debating on, I need to know what you consider to be a term, but I am debating on creating a term bundle of these unschooling calendars with some writing and some math. That way it's like a one-stop shop sort of a thing. And I will have an unschooling version as well, because we have unschooling math. And then for writing, I mean, the writing and stuff is very easy to fit in that, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this camera around and show you what all is in this beautiful Bugs Unschooling. And then don't forget, we also have space, anatomy, and animals. And like I said, next month is going to be the garden. It switches on the 1st of every month. So if you sign up now for this, a month after, so for example, today is the 4th. If you signed up for the subscription today on the 4th, then you'd get the next guide. It would be every 4th. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what's in this guide now. Okay, so first page, I'm going to the table of contents like I was showing you here. Terms of use. So this is really important. If you have a church class, a co-op class, or another class that you are in charge of, you can use one guide and copy assignments for that, and of course in your home. But other than that, you need to buy multiple copies. And if you need multiple printed copies, we'll give you a discount for that as well. So additional resources that we recommend using, shopping lists for all of the activities. These are the calendars that I was showing you before. Now this is the how to use it as a loop schedule. So the popsicle sticks, print out each little thing of that, put it on a popsicle stick, stick it in a jar, and you can pull out, you know, the sticks as you want to. And we've got these more in-depth calendars, which these are the ones that we use because I like doing it themed, you know, so we usually will combine these. Like I said before, we'll do 2 one day and 2 or 3 the next day. And that way we can make these ahead of time for you as well. The bug book list. So these are the 2 books that are, I hate to say required, but the ones that are really recommended for the lessons. And then these are any extra books that we used that you could also use, but they are not required. Then we've got the recipes. And they're all simple, delicious recipes that you can make very easily with your kids. Insect report, insect lessons, history lessons. And these history lessons are a little bit different from the majority of them. It's a little bit harder to do insect history, but we did the best we could here. Then we've got art lessons, STEAM lessons. And we say STEAM instead of STEM because art is an incredibly important component to us. And there you go. That is the whole thing. Let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.